Hello, everyone, and welcome to Revolution Esports. We at Revolution are excited to bring you another awesome season and now postseason of Overwatch. We are in our third season, but really technically our sixth, and this is playoff action in the GM division. This is Paul on play-by-play alongside Worst doing color commentary. How are you, Worst?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm living the dream, my guy. So we've got some action tonight between Voltage and NoWeaver Academy, and we'll be starting shortly here on Lijiang Tower. What are you expecting early on here, Worst?
Li Jiang has three different rounds that have some very different strategies. You see, we're gonna go in here and see our first round, our first map here. But it really depends on the thing. You do see a lot of sim on this map, specifically on Night Market, and we'll see if we even get to that. As sometimes you can get the first two. Li Jiang is a very incredibly diverse map. You see Dive on Garden. Sometimes you can see the more Ryan Zarya, Ryan Diva comps on Control Center. Will be Control Center. I'm expecting to see a Ryan Diva here, but these. Yeah, this should be pretty interesting here how it's just a very diverse map and you should be seeing different comps.
Absolutely. And so as a reminder for the format for these, this is playoff time. So there are 4 teams, I believe, in the GM division coming in now, and so it will be a best of 5 maps. The other night we actually had a match near. We go to map 6 because there was a draw. So in that case, it would go to a 6-map tiebreaker on Oasis. But otherwise, you will be seeing best of 5 action here as we are counting in here. We're going to see opening up. I'm making sure I'm calling the right teams here. We're going to see Voltage starting off with the Doomfist Reaper on DPS. Both teams actually going to be running that similar DPS style as they move on. We'll see how they start off here on point.
Yeah, it should be pretty interesting here. Both teams are going to be going in, bubbles out.
NoWeaver looking to push in. They're going to have to do a soft reset here as Ryan gets antied. Shield goes down. Spice is going to drop as well. And so they're going to look for soft reset. It's heavy looking to get a pin on Destruction. Finds a kill. Going to trade be down once. So they're going to look to get some ult charge and make it interesting. Flame Strike finds another. Makes it an even fight as Savvy takes a little nap. Going to put his shield up and try to walk and talk. But they're going to lose Cap. Pin not going to find anybody quite. He's going to get antied and have a duel with a Reaper that he might not like. And he'll go down.
Yeah, both of these teams opting in for the Zarya, and you're seeing how it pays off. So much more frontline pressure. Both teams not wanting that Diva. I forgot to mention earlier, but the hero bans are the same as OWL this weekend, which will be the ball. Oh, as we see a fast shatter coming out here.
Massive shatter with a flame strike follow-up. Going to find damage on quite a few as Z-Star is going to be the first one down. Destruction going to go down next. Boostio is going to bounce around that point, but not going to do a whole lot as the onslaught continues. Vex is going to find Star to take out a Reaper. We're going to see a lot of clone kills in the upper right-hand corner there, and that's going to be a cap for NoWeaver.
Yeah. As I was trying to finish up this, it was going to be the Mei and McCree are banned here, and without the Mei or the McCree, and also the Brig is also banned out, you're going to see a lot more of this Doomfist, and the Doomfist goes really well with the Zarya. It's getting bubbled up and just going in.
And we're going to see some of the action here as they're going to keep looking for a lot of picks, you might say, just between the Doomfist and finding a lot of really close-up action with the Reaper as Spice goes down here.
Yeah,
Destruction going to look to push in here early. Savvy looking for a lot of heavy pins here. He's getting in there quick. He's going to get melee though, and they're going to have to back off as they're down 1. Defending point, both teams across the 30% mark, and it looks like they're just going to let them take point and try to regroup.
Yeah, both of these teams just playing incredibly fast, trading the point back and forth each way, just speeding into each other with those Zarya bubbles. You're going to be seeing with the Zarya and the Doom, the Zarya bubbles are going to be going on the Doomfist when he engages. That's going to allow him to engage very well and die. And you see also, like, it's just going to be so much, it's going to be really fast around here with the Lucio and just with the Zarya just trying to speed into each other constantly.
Both teams have about 6 ults here. If we're going to see a shatter into it, grabs for each, another shatter is going to come out and see who has the final say here. Space Gem finds 5. Prodigy is going to look at Quintuple and finish it off with an ace of his own, and that will be a recap here for Voltage.
Yeah, really strong shadow coming out there in the grab, finding 5 people, nothing to stop that Doomfist ultimate from finding 5. But here you do see the Doomfist ultimate and Nano available here for Voltage. They will be pushing in here quickly, but
Vex is going to come out with a Reaper ult here. He's going to find one. Savvy's going to find another. That last cap, excuse me, was by NoWeaver, not Voltage. They look to maintain what Savvy's going to keep diving in there.
Yeah. Shadow still has that Nano on the Ana. I'm expecting this to go either onto the Reinhardt or onto the Doomfist, potentially trying to get into this point, try to break through this initial choke, but Let's see if they can. Trying to speed in here now. Finding
Orden's gonna get caught out early. He's gonna take a punch into the wall, and they're gonna have to start backing up the point, looking for a soft reset. See if Orden's gonna get back in time. It's NATO. Ryan's gonna work his way on the point. Destruction's gonna break down Savvy's shield. He's gonna go down. Prodigy's gonna look to get more destruction, looking for some more kills. Beat drop comes out for Pulsar. Prodigy's gonna go down, so they're gonna keep trading. Caesar's gonna go into the backline. Kaori goes down, and they're not quite gonna have enough as Voltage looks to recap here.
Yeah, once you lose that Lucio so early in the fight, you don't have that speed to disengage from the Nano. If they had that speed, they could just run away from the Nano and not take as much damage, but they was not able to do so. But still, 99% available for NoWeaver, only needing to take one fight, and they do have the tools available to grab back up along with the Shatter. You're gonna be. It has to come down to Ivy here to go faster with this grab than Spice. No team has a defensive ult, so you want to be the first one to grab.
Well, great call, and we're gonna see an early grab come out. Both teams have both tank ults. We're gonna see a grab. They're gonna float on an air for a little bit. Just take a look at each other. Destruction's gonna be the first one to go down here for Voltage. Sarv's gonna follow him. It's gonna be a 6-on-4 walking back on the point. They can't give up a cap here. As NoWeaver's already up to 99%. Caesar's gonna be the next one down. They're gonna trade Doomfist. DPS is definitely at a premium left along here. Savvy and Spice are going to find some kills as the tanks begin to take over. Destruction has his work cut out for him. He's looking at a Moira ult in the face. Sar's going to look to back out, and on a 99 to 99, the overtime clock will dwindle as Z-Star is going to ult on the point, and the fight goes on.
That should be a wrap up here for NoWeaver, but coming in here, both boxes coming out, finding nothing. Except Vexy goes down to Sorrow, but Sorrow is traded out as well.
Savvy with another excellent pin here as Prodigy finds Destruction and Shadow goes down, and this first round will go to NoWeaver.
The fight lasted a lot longer than NoWeaver probably wanted, but they still do cap in the end. But again, it came down to that they grabbed first, and they got a lot of that damage down into that grab. And once the Destruction Shadow was blocked, it really was just kind of unwinnable for them. They took so much damage, and the Moira Orb goes past the shield. Unlike the Ana, if the Ana can't find a nade onto that grab, it becomes... the Ana is really not doing that much in that fight, just taking damage, and the Moira Orbs go past the shields and get damage down, and they end up getting kills. So you really saw here, Ivy probably needed to go faster with his grab, but was unable to do so as Spice was super aggro. But seeing these two different comps, you do see the dive coming out here on Gardens, very common, and with the Pharah as well. There's no McCree here, and there's no Widow on the start. Let's see, the Pharah should be uncontested.
Yep. We'll see if there is any contest as Pharah comes in with a Far Mercy, as Sarah switches to a Tracer into a dive comp on the tanks. Meanwhile, NoWeaver will maintain their previous Ryan Zarya signature combo. Kaori's going to go down here early, though. No res to bring that back as Tracer gets into the backline early. We'll watch if Winston's able to punish Prodigy here. So far, no luck as they continue the duel on point. Ordenzo hopping around trying to keep this alive as long as they can as Prodigy's going to go down to a grenade here. They're down early. We'll see if they're able to stabilize. Savvy's going to be one. He goes down to the Pharmacy. Pharmacy's finding some early success. You said not really a counter here. Ordenzo's going to go down next. It looks like they're either going to have to soft reset or die on point to stall it out.
Yeah, it's going to be extremely difficult here for NoWeaver to push in here. You're going to see Voltage do one thing, and that's going to be they're not going to want to engage fully onto the bulk of NoWeaver. They're just going to wait and try and create angles for their Pharah and just let them pop off. So you really have to make an effort by NoWeaver to just shut down this Pharah's angles. Widow is one way, but I would also like to see a D.Va as well, because D.Va is such a great counter to Pharah, and the Zarya is not going to really buy you that much here, so an odd choice to not swap over with the D.Va after that, even though swapping on the Widow is a good choice.
Yeah, we see the like you said, we see the Widow swap early here, and a reminder that McCree is banned for this round, so they do not have that option. Their toolkit against the Tracer and Pharah. We see exchange of ults as the Pharah ult is going to come up over point. Savage is going to be the first and only one to go down. Destruction's going to go the other way. Vex is going to find the demon. They're going to trade for 2 for 2, 4 on point. No tanks though right now for NoWeaver, so that's going to pose a problem. Vex is continuing to pick them off though, opening up the game and opening up point here for them to take.
On the flip side, what you got to do with that Pharah is they just had a lot of ultimates available there for them to take that point, and it was just really well done from them to just avoid dying to that Pharah. And Vexy on that Widow, finding Pharah once again. Vexy did find the Widow later into that fight, really just helped save that point for them, but not
Destruction
over.
doing a crazy stall job as we think that they might have taken it over. That ult buying them a good 10-15% at minimum. Here, Far gonna get rezzed on points. The Valve comes in. They already have it up to 75%. So this is gravy on top as Loden's gonna go down. They're actually able to stabilize here. It looks like they have a real chance to maintain point throughout the rest of it. Prodigy and Savvy gonna find 2 picks though. Savvy anti Kaori very low here. As Prodigy's gonna look to find something with his fist. He goes off points and finds Shadow. Mercy gets punched. She's very low into a grab here.
Yeah.
And that's the signature take they're looking for.
Spice, though, having to invest the grab, held on to it for so long, not wanting to invest it on a stalled fight, but at the last moment deciding, I have to end this fight. If they had popped that earlier, they could have possibly gotten a much less time built up by Voltage. So actually a really good job done there by Voltage to stall at that point, use ultimates, and get picks to keep trickling into the fight. Well done by them, but we'll see on this recontest. Again, they have to shut down Vexy.
They've got the, like you said, they have the advantage of waiting on a bunch of ults to just take back with one fight as Shatter comes out. Diva's going to be pinned back on the point here. We're going to watch and see how they rotate in. A lot of options right now. Destruction close to another ult as well as Z-Star as they begin to trade picks. KO is going to fall off point. Barrage is going to find Savvy. Prodigy, they don't really have an answer for Doomfist, and it's hard to right now with these bans in place, as Prodigy is going to have another fist come on the point. He's going to get out of there, and right now there's not even a contest on point as they keep dancing around. Z-Star is going to continue to find 2 though, gets low, and they're able to retake. Voltage has a chance to win here.
Yeah, there should be a clean fight here though, just the Ryan on point. The Moya streaming in late, the Ryan should be killed up here. The Rez even coming in for good measure. Just the Lucio left alive, and he will be going down shortly. The legs locked in vain, trying to get back but will not help them. But you just saw you see the Widowmaker come out, and you're like, oh, Widowmaker's a good counter to Pharah, right? The Widowmaker was just dove on instantly in that fight and didn't have any kind of space to deal with the Pharah. You want something else to help build space against that Pharah. A D.Va especially is something so incredible. You saw Z-Soul get so much value out of Barrages when Barrage is typically an ultimate that doesn't get that much unless it's used as a surprise factor because a D.Va Matrix just eats it up entirely. But we'll be seeing here these two teams swapping over to, there's no Pharah on the mix, so you don't have to worry about that anymore. But you do see here a Symmetra comp. And Symmetra is very well-known character for this round in particular. But you see the big difference here. Ivy is opting into the Winston, while Spice is opting into the Zarya. It's an odd choice, but you're going to see a lot of cleave damage come down from Ivy on this engage. So if both teams teleport to the window, you're going to see a lot of damage come down from this Winston. Both teams do decide
Both
to do
teams
so.
right on point. Counter pin, or I should say a pin into a Doomfist punch. A lot of swinging on point, not a lot of action. So first Savvy misses hit, finds the flame strike on the destruction. That's going to be the first pick. Star's going to go down to Vexy. Vexy's charge up and rear into go. Kara will be the only one going down here so far for NoWeaver. For making sure I have my team right
Vexy is
here.
NoWeaver.
For NoWeaver.
Yeah. But you saw though Vexy getting 4 picks in. But the idea behind the Winston here is that you're gonna go past the barriers and you're gonna get a lot of cleave damage and especially get damage down on the Symmetra and focus her down. But the Symmetra, the monkey was never on the Symmetra. The damage never went down on her, so Vexy had so much space to just do whatever and no Zarya able to save anyone. So there's a really, man, they're just gonna feed onto you, I guess.
Like you said, yeah, it looks like they're not going to be able to do much here. Spice is able to find Z-Star early. Destruction is going to fall off, and they're going to have to take a reset here. Thoughts so far, too, on we see Savvy going for a lot of pins. That sort of hyper-aggressive play is really doing them well as Spice is able to give bubbles and really keep them alive to start swinging.
It's going to be difficult here for that you see them swap off the Symmetra. The Symmetra to the TP to the window, once the Symmetra is set up on point, is a very dangerous idea because as you saw there, they go through TP and instantly just melt it. They know you're going to come through there, they're just going to shoot it and you die instantly. So the swap on the Pharah is much more... on paper, it's like they have no counters. They just have the Symmetra, they just have the Doom, but they do have the Coalescence up and that's going to get a lot of damage down onto that Pharah Mercy.
We'll see both Coalescence come out here to start the fight here. Shadows is going to lead them. Bullets is just right on the point. Savvy's going to find a big shadow though off point. So far, not getting a lot of value though. Star's the first one to go down. IBS going to monkey around on point. He's getting low though. Can Postar keep him off and just narrowly? She will. Sorrow gets rezzed here and move back to a 6-on-6 as the fight rotates back on the point. Denzel's going to go down though. That doesn't pull well for them trying to finish this out. They'll try to push this above 85 or 90 to make it a one fight game here. a barrage comes in, making things interesting. Though with Prodigy, he's going to continue to find picks here. It looks like they might be able to run this thing out.
Yeah, that was. It's just very difficult for the dive to really take control of this point, especially with that Zarya. The Zarya gives you so much damage on point, and also the bubbles can help save people. So it's very difficult to try and push into that. But a weak test does come in, but the grab's
going to come out. No bubble to stop it. Like you said, we're going to see a pin come in here. 3 picks very early. Shatter's going to basically clean up the rest of the bunch here. Reaper just able to get Savvy down for good measure and a little pride, but that's about it. And first round here will go to that would be NoWeaver.
Yeah, potentially a mistake there, swapping back to the Reinhardt off of the D.Va when you're trying to weaken test, because they actually had a fairly even weaken test there. I think it was 3-3 or 4-3. Like 4 people, 4-3 on each side. So it was like you had a very good weaken test there, but why swap off the D.Va when the only win condition available to them was the grab? So you don't have the D.Va to eat that anymore. They can just throw the grab whenever, and the grab wins them the weaken test fight. So maybe an odd choice and maybe a mistake there to swap off that D.Va. But Destruction is a main tank player. No, maybe not so comfortable on that D.Va. So wanted to swap off that as quick as possible. And you saw that NoWeaver taking the map, but you saw there that Z-Source Fair is definitely something to be regarded as a danger. You do not want to give it too much space, and that's also why I'm kind of confused a lot about the playing Zarya so much. It might, if they only play Zarya this entire game, it would probably bite them in the behind a lot, because Z-Source Fair is definitely very dangerous, and you can swap over to the Widowmaker as you saw. If the Widowmaker doesn't have the space offered to them by a D.Va, it's going to be extremely difficult. So I want to see an adaptation that, especially if we go to a Rialto here, because the next map will be Escort. If we go to Rialto here, I definitely want to see that D.Va from NoWeaver.
And as we go here between rounds, just like to remind you that this is a best of 5, and so we see round 1 go to NoWeaver Academy. If it goes to 6, the tiebreaker map will be on Oasis. You're watching GM Division action. We will be having playoff action throughout the rest of the week, running through Sunday night, all broadcasted here on this Twitch channel, Revolution Overwatch, all one word. You can find updates on what matches will be broadcast on our Twitter page. That is @_Revolution OW. Again, that is @_Revolution OW. And I will be putting in. Ooh, Rins already has it in the chat. Thank you, Rins. He's our producer for tonight. So thank you so much, Rins, for 1, being here to produce, and 2, for assisting in the chat. You can check out our Discord, discord.revolutionesports.games. And it's a great volunteer community, and we have incredible players of pretty sizable league and tournament. All of us here tonight are volunteers, and we'll be volunteering throughout the week to cast, broadcast these great matches as we're getting ready for map number 2 here to sort that out. And so going into this next map, what sorts of things do you think that Voltage needs to prioritize in order to bring this back?
Voltage does select Dorado here, and I think this is a great selection. I would have probably preferred Rialto, possibly if that was in the map pool, but Dorado is also a pretty good fair map on the first point. You can play around the clock tower. So Voltage needs to play to the fair, and they have to play to that well. And now it's on NoWeaver's parts to actually try and counter that fair, because it is going to be, I assume it's what they're going to run. They showed it on Gardens. They showed it on Night Market. Zisor plays fair. He's a very competent fair, so I expect him to go to fair here. Possibly on defense, but not so much, but definitely on attack. I could see them going fair here, but we need to see Voltage try and play the ground game a little bit better. Maybe have, because you saw the maps that the ground game was super important. The Zarya was just able to punish, the Zarya of Spice was doing so much work and was able to punish them very hard, but they didn't. Not at all a bad showing, as should be getting a pause here, as one of the players seems to have disconnected. It's very unfortunate, but
put an F in chat for them crashing.
Put an F in chat. They did in fact crash, but it gives you more time to pick up my point, I guess. But you can see there on Control Center and on Night Market, where the maps were a lot more based on the ground game on the front line. You did in fact see that NoWeaver came out in charge, but those maps were by no means the whole map of Lijiang was by no means an easy cakewalk for NoWeaver. You did see a lot of resistance put up by Voltage. So the 1-0 score line, yes, Voltage needs to improve on some things, but I think a lot of it was NoWeaver's beating them in a style that perhaps Voltage isn't very comfortable in playing, based around the Rhine, the D.Va, the Rhine Zarya, and the Doomfist, which could perhaps bite them, as that should be a pretty consistently like strategy on most of these maps. I don't know about Dorado, especially the Dorado pick is good for them as it's more open, especially on the first map, on the first point. So that the Fair should be coming out here from Ziswa and should be getting some damage down. It fits their style much more.
And we saw some great action on that too with Prodigy almost single-handedly getting an ace off the combo into the Space Jam. We'll also take this time to remind you, since we're going to have a little break as they look to reconnect, that we will be having MVP voting for the best of 5. So keep these big plays in mind, and keep in mind who's been having a great series. MVP voting will open up sometime around game 3 or game 4, and that we will have an interview with them at the end of the broadcast. So please stick around for that. That is always an awesome part. The other night we had Cry from one of our winning teams, and he was just ecstatic, and it was a pleasure to be talking to him. So please stick around for that as we wait on the reconnect here.
Yeah, Destruction should be getting here. The player does in fact get back, but we should be seeing him. But NoWeaver did opt into defense first, which a lot of teams do pick defense because you get to set your own pace of the map, and when you set your own pace, you can change your composition. If they full hold, something that would be actually really interesting here is if we do see from NoWeaver a very forward hold, a spawn camp, as it will, because that is a very common strategy, especially recently on Dorado, because it affords you so much more time. You get a second contest, and on Dorado, if you hold back, if you defend in the choke, like in the initial choke, you can sometimes not get a second contest. Usually, you don't get a second contest. So it'll be interesting to see if NoWeaver opts into that strategy of the spawn camp and how much time they can really build off the clock. Because with that strategy, you're not exactly trying to hold them there for the entire time, but you are trying to get as much time burned as possible. As we do see here early on from NoWeaver, a dive composition with a Doomfist and a Soldier.
Interesting. And on the other side, we see a Hog coming out. That's subject to change as a preference. While we might see a little pull and hook action coming at you soon, I would love to see as a Hog guy. We don't get to see a whole lot of my boy these days, huffing and puffing. So we'll see if he comes out early.
Zisor opts into the Genji over the Pharah potentially. He's not selected completely now, but it would be interesting to see this composition coming out on Dorado. But this should be a forward hold here, achieved by NoWeaver. Yeah, it will be a spawn camp. The Soldier on the high ground, just shooting around. But this should be actually a really good position here for NoWeaver, as the composition from Voltage isn't going to be able to take as much space as you want to against his dive.
Pulling not able to find anybody early on, like you said, so they're set up on different angles on the high ground, 2 per building. As Destruction stays on point, just letting him move along a little bit. They're going to begin to jump down here. Winston gets caught in the pull. He's going to get hooked, and he's going to get taken out. Spice is going to get back to the high ground, try to get out, and just maintain a 6 and 5. Savvy works his way back. Defensive Matrix comes out on the point. Prodigy get back into the back line. They're going to get Spice out of mech here now, so they're going to be down to tank, down Prodigy, and down their Diva. And they might have to do a soft reset here as we look to get around the corner.
This is quite the odd. That was quite the odd defensive choice there. Like, they tried to spawn camp-ish. Like, they put a really forward hold. They'll get a second contest here, but now they're swapping everything off, and it's just... it felt like they
should have full committed a little bit more.
They didn't do anything for about 30 seconds, and then when they did something, they just dropped onto a Hog, which you don't want to be doing that. So
and I think Destruction even felt the hesitation. Destruction kind of walked on the point and backed off and kind of looked up like, should I step on here or not? We're gonna see 2 kills come out, 3 kills come out here on the recontest, getting them off a point, and they're just gonna kind of wipe them off and wipe them back.
Yeah, that's actually a really strong recontest and very vital, whereas now it puts his Hog Orisa composition at a very bad spot, because yeah, you can get pull hooks off, but how are you going to get a pull hook off against a Rhine Shield or against a Diva Matrix where you're just eating the halts? It's going to be very difficult, and they're looking for Nanoblade.
And not a lot of easy targets to pick there either.
Yeah, Voltage has to look for Nanoblade here, but the problem is that if the Nanoblade gets slept, gets punched, gets just shot in the face, it's going to be really bad for them. Their only win
come out here. We've got our Hog, Hook, and Nanoblade on the ready. Kaori's got a Nanoblade's gonna hit the deck. Mordenso, Vexy, and Savvy are gonna go to the grave on the blade. So it finds 3, finds 4. Ultimately, IBI is going to go down though. Destruction is going to take a little snooze. They're going to wait it out, but will that be enough to keep the point moving? Genji sort of single-handedly taking this fight here. Z-Star's already 25% to the next blade. Finds Kaori. Spice is going to come out of mech. He's going to stagger it just a little bit. Savvy though with a big shatter. They're going to get destruction. Him and Lorenzo alone. Hogwarts going to try to keep him at bay.
Yeah, actually a really strong weak contest there with that shadow coming in, and this actually looks really, really good for NoWeaver. They pushed them back. They have no front line available for Voltage to keep them in this fight. And it's back to the drawing board. You don't have a Nano Blade for this next fight, and your composition still can struggle very hard. The Halt Hooks is not going to get you what you need, and that shadow really, from Savvy, just saving the point there, even though they were down so much, but Vexy is dead to Z-Sword.
Vexy goes down. They might not be able to build Nano Blade in time, but it might not matter as Bongo and Valkyrie come out. So no need for, or excuse me, no Valkyrie, but Bongo's gonna come out. Basically getting a budget blade here as Rodenzo and Savvy go down to the blade here. Shadow gonna go down though from the hand of Prodigy. Prodigy follows it up. Z-Star's gonna fall asleep in the back line, gonna get guarded by Hog here as he tries to get up. Spice is able to get back in mech, and that's gonna pose a big problem as they look to push this thing through with just over 30 seconds left. Kaori's gonna go down, and the recontest continues.
Yeah, Sorrow got 2 key picks there. If he doesn't kill that Reaper and Lucio, you could see potentially NoWeaver flip the fight. But it should be a quick cleanup. Only the Tracer and Reaper available here to stall, and the Reaper ult should not get 6 people. Yeah, he'll be hooked up and dead. If he does trade his life, but that is fine. He'll get the forward spawn. But you really saw there that the composition, you got to kill off the Bongo Blade, and that's really what it's going to have to do. You're going to just combo Ultimus this entire time. But you did see that NoWeaver managed to almost get 4 minutes off the clock. They have 2 minutes and 20 seconds available here for Voltage coming in. It still looks really good for NoWeaver as the Destruction swapping over the Reinhardt potentially when they change things up. But
so Voltage will pretty much look to run through Z-Star here to open every fight with a blade or so, more or less.
Yes, but we do see the Destruction swap over the Rein Hog will struggle, so I'm expecting Ivy to ult and swap because there's no reason to stay on this any further.
Hoglet's gonna come out. Let's see if he ends up swapping. Ultimately, looks like Walls come out as well, I believe. Vexy's gonna go down to that. Z-Star is gonna come up with 90% and a Nano locked and loaded. Kaori's gonna be at 85%. We see Nano come up, we see Blade come up, and how many is he gonna find? Spice is able to get back in the mech just in time. Kind of caught in a bad spot here, not really able to find anything. And Sarah's gonna go down. They don't find any value out of that. 2 ults for nothing, and only for Roadhog to get killed by a bomb here. So we'll look to see if there's a swap. Destruction already going to Winston, maybe giving a hint as what's coming next.
I was gonna say perhaps overcommitment with that Nano Blade as you basically won the fight off Sora alone, but it seemed that even that wasn't enough. As we're seeing again another swap. Destruction, they're gonna swap to full Nano Blade dive with a Widowmaker. And we see Vexy also swapped over this Widowmaker, which could have possibly been a mistake here as it's a very split composition. Your composition is going to be doing a lot of different things here. The Widow's going to sit back and shoot, but everyone else is going to want to engage. So it's very odd here, but you're trying to get rid of. You're trying to contain Sora, but let's see if they can do it.
Spice is going to get hit with a Nano here, going to force them off the high ground early on, not going to maintain any sort of different view as they all look to dive in. Spice is going to fall asleep on the back line as they get pushed back. They're going for a soft reset. It looks like with about 40 seconds left here. Prodigy's going to punch the back line into an offensive Lorenzo ult. Beat drop comes down, Shadow and Sorrow drop, and it looks like NoWeaver might have a chance to hold them to one final fight as we approach under the 30-second mark.
That was really, really odd there as Pulsar flanked all the way around with the Valkyrie and actually killed Vexy on the Widowmaker there as Pulsar. So Pulsar apparently was the Widow counter there, but
yeah, we hear see in the chat. Sorry, that was the call. So Pulsar even playing an LOL, realizing how ridiculous a play that looked to the rest of us. It's with under 5 seconds left. They're going to have the recontest. No Charlie 9 is open up overtime. Star's going to put up walls. Shadow does have Nano, but these are the first one down. No Reds to come up, so they're not going to get Nano Blade off. They're going to go down 3 instead. Savvy's going to look for a Shadow to take them off and out a point, and that will be a generous 1.5 here to open up for Voltage.
Yeah, that's a very doable push. Obviously, you can definitely push that far, but it's a good spot for Voltage. Actually, you can full hold on this map fairly consistently. Especially if you go for the forward hold and buy a lot of time. But we shall see what the strategy comes out here if they decide to go for that full hold. There have been matches on Dorado where Voltage have simply decided to hang back and play this first choke, which may or may not be a mistake in this current meta. It's variable from team to team, but getting 2 fights on this first point is just so invaluable that I would expect them to possibly adopt that strategy. As
Now,
we
how
do
would
see
you
here,
think that? I was gonna say, how would that if they look to do a similar strategy as they did on offense, would they be able to do something like that here on defense? Or you think they really have to change it up and just opt for a far as we're seeing out the gate?
I think Halt Hook, Mr. Hog, is strictly inferior to Double Shield with the Sigma, because your Halt combo is still just as strong. A Rock plus a Halt is still just as strong as a Halt Hook, and it's less. And the Sigma offers a lot more in the mid fight than the Hog. So I think that the Hog inherently will only work on attack, because on defense it doesn't offer you those tools like the shield and the space that it can buy. So Double Shield is the call here. But we do see the Z-Sword with the Pharah. And again, there's no Widow to start here, but there is a Diva, so Z-Sword could still run into some troubles here. But they do not go for the forward hold, the spawn camp. They do in fact hold this choke, hold back with the Orisa Sigma, as NoWeaver decides to flank underneath with a dive composition.
And we're gonna see how Voltage sets up the double shield. As Rissa still set up top. Prodigy looking for a flank on the Doomfist up top with the Diva, looking to create different angles here. Savvy joins the fun, gonna fall asleep up top. As Prodigy goes for a trade, gonna kill the Star, but go down as well. They're gonna push them off the high ground and look to keep the cart going under the bridge.
Yeah, that was actually a very good play there by Prodigy. As this fight does things, Z-Sword still raining down damage from above. No counter on him. Diva not in his face, but that was actually a really good play from Prodigy there. He'd actually been forced out by the Pharah, and if you're getting forced out by a Pharah and you manage to find a pick, that's actually a really good trade, but it didn't seem to matter as the fight devolved, and Pharah just actually plays so much better in chaos when there's not 2-3 people shooting at her, and when she's free to do anything, she does so much damage down. So we have to see here, Spice has to jump on this Pharah, has to deny her value.
We see Vexy enter the backline here, looking to get onto Yana and force some action, but she's able to get the sleep off before, and we saw some shenanigans before that. Sombra and Sigma exchanging blows. Prodigy's going to be the first one to go down here, put a little damper on their push, as we're going to see a pole gets them off point. Z-Star gets antied and gets absolutely pounced on as Spice finds the Nano. They seem to be really preferring the Nano Diva. She gets in the backline. Sigma's going to suck that all up though and have a ton of armor going for the rest of this fight. Z-Star is going to be red. Bongo's going to come up. We see Bar Barrage is available as Spice and Shadow go down in the fight here. Sorrow has walls available. We can see a Sigma ult coming out, and we do right through the Bongo.
Yeah, definitely a waste of that Sigma ult. The fight was already over, but you actually saw a funny play there. Shadow nanoed the Mercy to guarantee the res, to get Pharah back in, because actually Kaori has hit sleep darts on this Pharah 2 times so far, and the second one actually managed to kill Z-Sword, basically, so Kaori acting as the Pharah counter right now with these sleeps, but Spice has to make more of a committed effort to removing that Pharah from the sky, as you see. When it's not
way in the backside too, causing a lot of action. We see Sorrow shooting far in the background onto the backseat, really pulling her away from the fight. And Savvy's gonna get barrage, maybe needing a little bit more support. Vexy's still in the backline, gonna be coming in at some point here. She's dancing around point. She's got EMP up and ready, but they go down 2 and probably look to reset as we're closing in on the 1 minute mark. So they'll be coming back with an EMP, possible beat, and Nano coming up, and we're going to see, as for Voltage, no ults at the ready quite yet, but they will probably be looking at a Nano here early on.
This is NoWeaver's fight to win. They have the EMP. The Nano is coming up shortly, so is the beat for any amount of damage that any burst damage that comes out. They have to win this fight. If they fail to win this fight after committing EMP, it will be disastrous for them.
We see some shots raining in. We see EMP come up. Prodigy is the first one to go down. Vexy's able to maneuver right back onto the Orisa as a beat drop comes in looking to save the fight. Spice is Anti's going to look to get back into the action here. Z-Star and Shadow enter the grave. Destruction is going to swap to Winston and Spawn. See if they can make something up with 35 seconds remaining here. A point will roll in.
The EMP coming out there, just crumpling the front line, and that's what you needed. The EMP, the thing they've been waiting for about 3 minutes there. That was the fight to win. If they didn't win that fight, that was going to be really disastrous for them, but they do pull it out with the EMP and with the beat. They win that fight, and now the pressure's on Voltage now. They don't have that NoWeaver doesn't have that fight to push. And they really have to take a forward hold here to stall this point for 2 minutes and 30 seconds. The Nano is available here. will probably go down onto Zsoy, honestly, and a halt to follow as well. But Savvy taking this high ground.
They're able to get around, close to around this first corner here for free, as they only have to get around just the next bend. As Vex is the first one down as Savvy. That's going to put a huge damper on their push here. KO is going to join as well, so we're going to see a 6-on-3 action, and Sigma's going to go down, and they're going to wrap up here and have an early res to be ready for the next push with spawn advantage.
We could actually see here from NoWeaver just them waiting. Well, actually, no, they swapped off the Sombra. I was going to say wait for the EMP, but they swap off the Sombra onto the Widowmaker. 2 minutes remaining. Vexy is gonna have some troubles here. He's playing an offensive Widowmaker, which is very difficult. The defensive Widow always has the advantage because they can always just peek, like they're always looking where you're coming from, and you have to peek them. So we'll see here. But Spice jumping on it.
Barrage is going to come out. Vex is going to be the first one to go down. We see Z-Star get antied and killed, so that's going to be a 2-for-1, absolutely worth. Only able to take out the Kaori next as well, and so we're going to see them able to free push here if they're able to get to the cart, but they kind of forgot about it here. They're not set up to actually move it at all.
Yeah, Spice will be looking to throw the... Vexy does get the play on the Widowmaker. That's their time to go. Spice will deny this res, but Spice Bomb is going to be the most important thing here, as it's going to buy so much space and probably kill as many, but that's a huge shadow.
Absolutely massive shadow. Excuse me, they didn't forget about Queen, because that's what the team pushing, confusing my colors here, but we're seeing massive shadow that's going to end up in some serious action here. And that should allow them to bring this thing into the corner here. We'll see if they're able to recontest it all with any sort of cheeky hero selections, but it doesn't appear so.
Yeah, that should be the map. Yeah, that's the map going over to NoWeaver. Them going up 2-0 now. And our next map will be Assault. It's difficult to judge that for Voltage because they did have a very good defense. It's just the EMP is such a strong ultimate that it kind of just messes up the thing. But you do see very shining points in Seesaw on that Pharah, and you want them to go to another map where they can play that Pharah again. But actually well played from NoWeaver there, but also not that poorly played from Voltage. So even though it's 2-0, both of these maps pretty close.
Absolutely, and so it wouldn't be surprising necessarily if we see some sort of reverse sweep, or at least taking them to 5, as so far we've seen great back and forth action, really some innovative strategies. As we prepare for map number 3, we'll take this opportunity to remind you that this is in fact a best of 5. NoWeaver is up right now 2-0, and so in case best of 5 is confusing, you could think of it as a race to 3. So every game is match point. Voltage is against the ropes, and so as we continue this action, we will have action again, I believe, at 10 o'clock on the stream as well, and throughout the rest of the week at 8 p.m. EDT. You can continue to find information about us in our Discord, which I will add to the chat at this time. And then you can also find us on Twitter at _revolutionow. Again, that's at _revolutionow. Also, we have a discount code for Rogue Energy. Discount code is TORB10, TORB10. And so as we look to map number 3 here, so Voltage is against the ropes, as we've said, and so far a lot of play through Z-Star. Do you think we need to see some sort of different strategy around them, or do you think maybe it's time for them to invest a little bit more in their tank play or something?
It'll be interesting to see what their strategy coming out here on this next map. I would be tempted to see Hanamura and them go for Nanoblade EMP or Volskaya Nanoblade EMP. Those 2 maps would probably be the maps I would expect from them. Less so on the Pharah, I guess, now, because Assault does tend to struggle with Pharah because the defenders have such a huge advantage for their hit scan, where the Pharah has to push into the hit scan line of sights and all their angles. So you do tend to see less Pharah on these Assault maps. But I wouldn't be surprised to see Zsoy trying to play for the Genji, the Pharah Genji, his staple heroes, especially in Revolution so far. That's what he likes to play. That's what his comfort picks are. So we're going to be trying to see them trying to play through Zsoy still. Play with a Genji blade, play with the Nano blades, play with... I would not expect to see more Rhine, Zarya, Doomfist. Less so some of that, but definitely Genji Nano blades. But NoWeaver, they've shown a variety of styles here. They've shown dive. They've shown the Reinhardt Zarya, but I would expect them to play more of that Reinhardt Diva, Reinhardt composition styles, because even on the dive, they looked They didn't look bad. It's just they didn't have enough playtime. They swapped off pretty quickly, so I would assume they're more comfortable on the Reinhardt compositions.
Let's see how that plays out here as we wait on map number 3. Again, that NoWeaver is up 2-0 on Voltages, so they will need a reverse sweep of some sort here to make it a 3-2 and able to come back and win. And so when we are thinking in terms of the overall playoff picture, so this is a 4-team bracket, so winner will go on. There's no round 1 here like in some of the other brackets, so we're basically already in the semifinals, and this will go right into the finals, which would take place over the weekend. So you can check back for that again on our Twitter page and here on Twitch. So when we think of as MVP voting, will probably be opening up soon, as this might only go 3 maps. Who do you like so far worst for that award?
So far for MVP, I think Kaori, especially on that last one, I don't think we talked about it. She slept the Pharah out of the sky 3 or 4 times, 2 of those times killing the Pharah. So there wasn't really a kind of a style play by NoWeaver to really have Spice go for that Pharah, but Kaori was bloodthirsty for that Pharah. Went after her every single time with those sleeps and managed to find it a couple times and really, yeah, just managed to get so much value against that Pharah Mercy. So Kaori for NoWeaver definitely in the lead there, but also Vexy also shown some great play on both maps so far, some Widowmaker play and some Sombra play, some Symmetra play even, and the Reaper play as well. Like they played, Vexy also played very well. Savvy also on that main tank role, shown to be very clutch with his shadows, very well respecting of space, and just knows how to take space very well. So actually very well done so far as a whole by NoWeaver, but those 3 in particular were the ones I would look out for myself. And on the opposite side, on Voltage, Zsoy, you have to talk about him. His DPS play is what's enabling all of this. Also, Sora had some very good play. And then, of course, Pulsar on that Mercy, keeping him alive. The backline in general for Voltage seems to be on the same page, going for that nano res. Great play from them. So right now, it's if I was to say MVP, it's some of those, and I want to see in this next map if any of those people break out. Specifically, if they like break out and just really pop off. So that's what I would be looking at.
As we see some banter coming through in the match chat, Kaori remarking that, quote, being happy over sleeping far and Mercy 6 times.
Yeah.
And we see some banter telling them for Owl to give them a look. Like you said, we've absolutely seen amazing sleeps, and really we've seen some great antis in the air too. So absolutely solid on a play and really great play overall. I mean, if 1 or 2 different picks or fights go one way or the other, I mean, this could easily be a 2-0 the other direction.
Yeah, it's actually not over for Voltage. They did show a lot on that map. They did show a lot on Li Jing as well. They did take a round of Li Jing, playing that Pharah style. They are very comfortable in that. Now we have to see if they're nano, they're going to a Temple of Anubis. So we could actually see Pharah here. This is the 1-2 CP map where I could expect to see Pharah here from Voltage on that first point, trying to boop off the high ground. So basically the Pharah will go up, they'll boop off the high ground, and the dive will dive onto the tanks who will be antied. That's definitely a strategy that can be in place. So I actually could expect to see some Pharah here on the attack. On defense, not so much.
Now entering the
We'll look to see if they bring that far out here as we load into Anubis.
Initiating
Again, NoWeaver up 2-0 here, and the best of 5 race to 3 action. This is GM Division action with Revolution Overwatch Esports. We will be broadcasting all week playoff action. We'll have another broadcast again, I believe, at 10 o'clock tonight as we continue coverage of Division 1 and GM action tonight. And so as we load in here, we'll begin to look at the picks as the clock winds down. And voting, again, keep in mind who you like for your MVP.
Yeah, and we do see the Pharah here coming out from Zsoy with that dive composition. So what you're going to see here from the Pharah is they are going to go up, and they are going to boop off the tanks off the front high ground, which will be the double shield in this case. Boop them forward, and Shadow will come in with an anti-nade, and then the dive will come onto the tanks and try to kill them as quickly as possible. So that'll be generally the strategy. Now the counterplay to that is the Sigma puts a shield that blocks the boop and has to do it consistently. The Pharah is going to look for different angles, so Spice on that Sigma has to constantly be aware of the Pharah's positioning and where to position his shield against that. We also do see the Torb and the Ashe. The Ashe is actually very interesting here. You would typically see a Widowmaker in her place because Widowmaker is consensually seen as a much better character than Ashe, but obviously Vexy looking prefers the Ashe apparently.
And 31 ult charge already, so we're going to see a very early Bob coming out here as we see Kaori on Mercy and Prodigy and Torb. They're going to be playing into an offensive dive attack as Vexy already finds a kill onto the far. Far is going to be the first one res, so no res remaining, no lamp remaining as well. So both support major abilities are going to fall, and V-Star is going to fall again, so they might have to rethink their strategy here for Voltage as they just cannot get through this Vexy who almost has Bob within 30 seconds.
This is going to be very dangerous for Voltage here. The Pharah is going to struggle a lot into the Sigma and into the Ashe in particular. This dangerous that Ashe can one-tap the Pharah or just two-shot her in general, and with a much faster fire rate than the Ashe, than the Widowmaker. So actually I think the Ashe is their attempt at a better counter Pharah, because with the pocket you can actually kill Pharahs faster than the Widowmaker. But you have to see here if this Sombra can get online quick enough, but the Nano coming out should be going onto destruction onto this high ground.
So Sorrow's going to dance around on the line of point, not crossing that line, not learning where they are. It's a massive boop, gets them off the high ground. Bob's going to come out, try to keep off the offensive. Sorrow's going to be very close to down. He's going to be almost out of mech here as they begin to move onto point. NoWeaver's Kaori is going to be the first one to go down in the fight. Vexy's going to fall as well. And so as Monkey gets angry and the back line's wreaking havoc, we're going to see the fight continue on point. Torb and Orisa set up behind the shield with Bap providing some heals. He's going to be the first one to go down to Sorrow. As Sorrow looks to just mow down the back line. We see Sombra getting a lot of value here, approaching 70% here on EMP. Torb's going to be coming back with ult. Orisa still fighting on point, dueling the Bubble and the Winston. She's going to get hacked though, and she's going to be going down as they look to cap.
Yeah, that was actually a really good fight for Voltage there. The Nano Monkey buys the Pharah so much space for him to move around, and even though the Bob comes out, the Pharah just hides, and while the Pharah is hiding, Destruction is soaking up all that damage with the Nano and pops his Primal. But now you come in here, you're looking at, you have an EMP, you have a Barrage. This is a fight-winning combination of ultimates that is really strong, especially if it catches this the D.Va here. The Sorrow needs to catch the D.Va in particular.
We watch as they give Vexy a good solid 40 to 50% ult charge as they walk in here to give them 5 ults here on defense for NoWeaver. So they'll have Bob, Bongo, and they're going to rip it right away as I can't even get it out before they rip it. Bob's going to take a little snooze and just force them to wait this out. Probably their best option here as they rip 2 ults with no value except for just stalling it out.
That was extremely premature by NoWeaver. You have to use those ultimates as counters to the engage. The Bob especially is a very good counter engagement ult where you put that, you hit the tank that's engaging, or you throw it in the backline. It zones the backline and prevents them from helping the dive. That's what the Bob should be used for, not trying to buy 20 seconds, 30 seconds of time. A little bit premature, especially with the Bongo. You can't waste Bongo like that. It's a very strong ultimate.
So we're going to see it. We'll wait for that EMP barrage combo that you talked about earlier. So far, no dice as Sorrow hits the EMP button. Farrell hits the Q, taking out Vexy first and gets Nano. Let's see if they're able to clean up any further than that. As Torb finds one and Poster's going to go down. They're going to go down 3 here. Vexy's going to get res as well. That's going to pose a problem here. Spice is going to go down. Kaori's going to get another pick of their own. So we see the Mercy and the Ashes going to work, and they're going to end that offensive before it even gets started.
Yeah, that Nano EMP Barrage did not find nearly enough value. The Barrage coming out only getting 1. The EMP, well, it was fairly good. It did get the entire backline. No sleep was available to come out. So it was a well-played EMP, but people just fled. People just ran away from the Barrage. I actually would have liked if Zisora didn't Barrage and just waited. But now we see the swap onto a Rein Zarya from both sides. Spice deciding to mirror the Zarya from Ivy. But
Vexy going onto the Reaper now too. No need to counter the Far anymore, and immediately swaps to something to go into the Rein Zarya a little better. Both teams playing for sort of Zarya combos, one for Space Jam, one for a Dragon combo. As Destruction is going to go down, and with no shield here, they're just going to have to sort of wait it out or see what they can do as far as ult charges. Will they be able to get out of the tunnel here? We'll see as Zarya's the last one to get through the tunnel. We're going to see a charge come in. They're going to push it out and force the time to go off the clock. Zarya's going to go down, Hanzo's going to go down, and this is really going to waste about 45 seconds to a minute total here after all is said and done.
Sora developed that EMP now, and now NoWeaver needs to be cognizant of the fact that the EMP is available. This composition from Voltage is just objectively much slower comp than NoWeaver, so because it relies on the Samba, and it's basically a 5v6 because the Samba doesn't do much in a team fight. But you need to see NoWeaver here go fast. It needs to go faster than the EMP. They need to engage faster than the EMP can come off. If not, they may just roll over and lose this point.
We'll wait and see on that EMP, as these are very close to Dragons as well. Shadow close to a Nano, as we're going to see Prodigy and Savvy maybe able to combo on a Shatter Space Gym variety of Spice. We're going to see getting some charge, looking to get a grab to go with the Doomfist. Prodigy is going to jump in there, get involved. He's going to go up in the air, look for a slam. No target found. Yeah, he's going to find Shadow. Shadow's going to come out with a Moira. Oh, maybe they overexpended on the ulti coming here. But they're going to save off the offensive here, and you have to think maybe they could have found the same fight with 2 or 3 of the ults rather than the whole gamut.
I think they've done a good job of keeping the Samba, of like locating her and pushing her out and forcing her away and not allowing her to use EMP. It's also odd that they're not just pushing into the team that's by themselves. It's basically a 5v6 if you take that fight. It would benefit them a lot if they just tried to fight them, especially with the Doomfist Reaper, which is so much stronger than the Hanzo in close range.
Be interested to see if they go for a sort of an EMP speed boost, and we see a very early grab going to come out, force them into a tight spot down the alley. The Dragons are going to counter, find Prodigy, find Spice, find 7. It's going to be 3. They might be able to move on to point, as we see Vexy counter with a Reaper ult. That's basically going to put an end to any ideas they had of moving on to point after the Dragons.
That's what you need to do against the Samba. This Samba is not EMP'd in 3 minutes. This is what you need to do to play against Samba. Just go faster than the Samba. Samba is a very slow character. It's going to wait to get set up for the EMP. And you also saw them waste the grab Dragons there. They'll swap over to the Doomfist and the D.Va. This is their last fight, and Solo has to find a big EMP. If not, this team of NoWeaver just fights so much better.
As we're going to see if Sorrow is able to get that EMP out with 10 seconds left on the clock. They've got Voltage as 4 ults coming in, and they desperately need to get the 2 points here to see if they can sneak out a map win. Shatter comes out with the EMP as a combo. Prodigy's still going to find a kill, though. He's going to find another. That's going to make things very difficult. They trade 2 and 2 for the picks. Voltage still looking to maintain control of points, see if he can get at least a tick, but it's going to be very difficult as Prodigy's though gets pinned, is able to escape it as the destruction goes down. The destruction rather continues here for NoWeaver, so it looks like they're going to be able to save them off to only 1 point and no ticks.
Actually, yeah, this should be the round going over, but very, very well played there from Lodenzo. Hiding, I said the EMP had to be massive. It got 3, did get the shadow coming out, but the beat was just so quick to follow because Lodenzo was just ready for it. Again, just a great job of being cognizant that the win condition there for Voltage is the EMP, and how do you deny that win condition? You got to get the beat. So it's really good, just really well done by them there, by Lodenzo there. Clutch beat comes out, saves the point basically. So really well played by them, but
Extremely well played, and they're able to hold them off for over 4 minutes there. Like you said, they were able to keep the EMP, Sorrow holding that EMP for over 3 minutes, and they were able to force a couple of staggers and fights that, you know, 1 pick turned into 45 seconds and a whole run out of clock there as we watch, as NoWeaver only needs to get this first point and a tick. So if they're able to cap this early, Voltage has a huge uphill battle waiting for them if they want to have a shot at this map and at this match.
yeah, but NoWeaver only has to cap 1, and then they're not even in danger of losing the map if they don't take second, or don't take 1 tick of second. They're just in danger of a draw, which isn't that bad for them. You're still up 2-0 in the match. You just go to the next one, and you have 3 more opportunities to win. So it's a really safe position for them. Capping first is something that's generally always happens on Anubis. First holds aren't all that common, and Soil and Z-Soil will be opting into the Junkrat Torbjorn here. The double shield coming out with the Bat Zen. We'll see how the NoWeaver plans to do this, because they can actually, in fact, just try to push into them. I think their comp would prefer, obviously, to just fight them or just run into them. But
Savvy should immediately destroyed here, as they're going to look to push in. Vexy's first one down. Somber not going to get any value for an EMP. Immediately, Prodigy joins them back in spawn, so no DPS is going to make it incredibly difficult to even find any value for Owens. Carrier's going to find 50% early on here. The Carrier also putting in chat to report me after getting taken out in a way that must have been very displeasing to them. It's Ordenso and Savvy going to get cleaned up here. Maybe should have stepped back quicker, and so that's going to be a reset going into 3 minutes.
I know Spice won't, but I want him to swap over to the D.Va here into this Junkrat. Generally, the Zarya does play very well with the Doomfist and with the composition in general, but a bubble that eats 200 damage is just not as good as a DM that eats infinite amount of damage, infinite amount of spam for 2 seconds. That is going to be so much more valuable to them when they're pushing this. And again,
Spice goes immediately down. And to your point, that Rhine shield's probably was already broken before they even turned the corners. Savvy's looking to get Shatter, and they do off that flame strike. Odessa's going to go down. Shatter's going to come out. Then we'll see if there's anything. Lamp comes up. Window comes out. They're just going to have to back up as they are way down in this fight. And as we see, like on cue, Spice switching over to D.Va.
That is a much better option into the spam. You see every single time as they're trying to rotate in, they're taking so much damage. And what you need to do is time your rotates with your DM. And that'll just allow you to actually take positioning that you desperately need on this Ryan composition with the Doomfist. You need position.
Let's see if they're able to get under the bridge here. They're going to choose to go to the high ground instead. Again, defensive Matrix able to eat and eat and eat, but Savage is going to go down because he doesn't have that same capability. Shield drops. They're going to kind of have to hang around here in the death chamber for the Junkrat. As he has Tyre ready to go, he's going to Claymore back to his team, and they're set up. Seeing if Savvy can get back. Savvy made the switch to Winston here. They're gonna have a hard time even getting through this wall of death that they've sort of set up here. As Moira ult comes out, gonna see if they look to make their way onto point. Vexy goes up down first. Spice forced out of mech. Kaori finds the Sigma. And we're gonna see Savvy jump in, trying to remove the Bongo as they set up on the high ground with a little damage boost.
Yeah, this Junkrat is an absolute monster for them. It's but taken out by Kaori.
They're immediately Kaori correcting us. Moira, Kaori's support play here absolutely lethal on the DPS. They haven't even touched Shadow though in the high ground. Shadow just continues to go to work, throwing the orbs. Pulsar and Lorenzo are going to go down, and they're going to trade supports. And we're going to see Somberg try to flip out of here. Savvy's still in there, looking to generate a fight and maybe a 4-on-4. Moving on the point, keep them off the high ground, and they might be able to form something when the team's back.
Yeah, Voltage is actually a really bad position here, being forced back, but the EMP can come out as well.
EMP, but it doesn't find the stop though on Shadow. Shadow's able to get off a little Transcendent. Savvy's gonna go down and trade with C-Source, so they're winning that trade here. Prodigy's gonna go down as well, as Voltage looking to make something here, hold them off with 45 seconds left on the clock. Kaori is going to go back to the spawn, and it looks like they're going to hold them off for one last fight. NoWeaver's going to have to put something together here with a handful of ults. No EMP though, leading into this last push.
Yeah, you're seeing actually another clutch support play there, hiding from the EMP and getting that trans off, shaving off all the damage. They lose one to the EMP, but still they save so many others, and the Tyre also coming out, trading so well, but it's a very clutch support play from Shadow. It's actually a really good position here, but Shadow, as I say that, supports both die.
And we're going to see 2 kill Shadow. Yeah, both supports going to go down here. They're going to be in a world of trouble as Lorenzo goes down as well, so they're not much healing going on at point. This is going to be a battle of the tanks, and Sigma is going to win that duel here. Savvy's mad, and he's going to let them know it. Orisa's getting pushed around. She fortifies. We're seeing the Torb turret just go to work. There's nobody there to really look at it, so the Torb turret really going to take care of business here as the final fight. And it looks like a 4-on-3. Sigma ult's going to force the last of them into the air, and they might be able to hold this out.
Really clutch Sigma play coming in from Ivy, rocking the Doomfist and killing him instantly. All the damage gone for NoWeaver on that very staggered fight, a 3v3, and they cannot finish as they lack the DPSs. Voltage taking back a map. The series now 2-1 in NoWeaver's favor, but Voltage on the upswing, and that's momentum in favor of Voltage. A full hold on Anubis, a rare sight, but something you'd like to see.
And one very well done.
Yeah, actually, a very good defense there. After a sort of shaky offense there from Voltage in a sense, the offense wasn't the greatest thing, but the defense even better, so it didn't really matter. We do see.
So as we get ready for map number 4, Voltage bringing it back and getting on the board. They have one map, as NoWeaver Academy has 1-2. This is a best of 5 race to 3, and immediately we're seeing a pick of King's Row, so we'll see if that ultimately ends up being the map pick here. We'd like to remind you at this point that we are in playoff week here at Revolution Overwatch on Twitch, Revolution Esports on Discord, so we will add that to the chat if you would like to join our amazing community of over 1,000 Overwatch players, enthusiasts, volunteers, and just generally great people. you're listening to our broadcast of a GM Division game as we're loading into Kings Row. This is Paul. I'm play-by-play alongside Worst with color commentary and Rins Win Rins cast in production. So thank you to everyone for making this possible as we're getting close to 30 views. And so we welcome you into this broadcast. And as we get ready for map number 4, we remind you that MVP voting will likely be opening up soon, and we've seen some great plays so far. And as we enter what we love to call scrims row as well, what are we gonna see that far again here, Where's what do you think?
I would definitely be hesitant to ever say we're gonna see the Farah here, as a pause will be coming out here shortly for an unknown reason so far, but I guess we more time to talk. Actually, I see someone pick a Farah, and I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it. I don't like the Farah on Kings Row. I'm sorry, but I'm not a fan of it for various reasons. But one, it's a very enclosed map. Besides the first point, you can probably get away with it, maybe potentially, but I also think it's very difficult to run. A Widowmaker has so much. The Farah is going to struggle fairly often and on defense, especially in Kings Row, but we'll see how it works. But both of these teams here should be looking for a more Reinhardt Zarya, Reinhardt Diva style. Reinhardt Diva probably. But Spice has shown that he loves to play the Zarya, and for good reason. The Zarya does offer a lot of frontline pressure. The Zarya does a lot more damage up front than the Diva, especially when he gets that high charge. So you can just kind of run. You try to push into the Ryan Diva comps, and you then tend to have the advantage. But we'll be seeing here what these two teams decide. We are seeing an early Bastion pick from Vexy. I would be also surprised to see that, but yes. Of course, Voltage winning the last map. Voltage does get the pick. They do, in fact, get the pick defense. Most teams tend to often pick defense, as I said before. It lets you set your own goal for the map, and it lets you set what you want for the map. So it's very, very strong for you to pick defense first. Like, let's say you full hold here, you can swap to a comp that is much more combo-y, Nano Blade, something like that. But on Kings Row, you tend to see the same kind of stuff. Ryan Diva, Ryan Zarya with, well, May and McCree are both banned. So actually, there is some variety we can see here. May and McCree have been staples of this map. But we should be getting out of the pause here shortly. But DPS, much more open this time around. I would not be surprised to see this Vexy swap over to a Reaper and Prodigy swap over to a Doomfist, but maybe. They've been running that the entire time.
Maybe.
Actually, it does look that they do, in fact, want to play Farah here.
Oh, we saw the Bastion for a second, though. We were so close, Worst.
No, well, yeah, no, you're not going to see the Bastion.
You're not going to see it.
Unless paired with a Symmetra, you're not going to see a Bastion here, but we do actually see a double shield composition come out here for Voltage with the Torbjorn Farah. Now, this isn't the worst thing. Double shield actually does quite well on defense first point for King Joe. The Farah, if Prodigy or Vexy or Spice swap over to something more that's like more counter to a Farah, it could turn into a little bit more of a problem, but also they can just, oh, never mind, these were.
a lot of damage early on. We see shield nearly broken. They're going to hide out in the hotel just for a second here as shield dropped probably below 500. We saw the cracks along the glitz in there, so we're going to wait and see. They're stuck and trapped in the hotel though, and they're going to look to get out. And sad we won't make the journey, and they'll just go back in the spawn and think about things.
Yeah, we do see Vexy swap over to the Windmaker. I also want to see Spice swap over to...
There you go.
I was going to say it. He didn't let me say it. Okay. Spice swaps over to the pink Korean lady. So now we got that going, because I cannot say that. But they do look that going in. That'll give them so much more pressure against this Farah. It's similar to the Junkrat spam. DM is so much better than Zarya Bubbles, so we'll see how that works out for them. But the strategy should still be very similar. Speed onto the front line and take that fight while the Diva deals with the Farah.
Zsor are already almost to Barrage here. Sigma says Owens as well. KO is going to have Coalescence. Barrage is already going to come out. Zsor is not going to find anybody quick. You can find Ludenzo and Savvy at the back end of it. Sigma's going to go down. Ballistic is going to go down as well as Prodigy begins to pop off. And it looks like there's going to be able to cap on this. It's just a duel of sort of what's left. Zara looks to move in here as Torb. Turret's up. He's overloaded, but it's not going to be enough.
Yeah, as you saw the big thing that this composition from NoWeaver achieves that Voltage doesn't is that they have a lot of just front-loaded damage that when they run at you, they do a lot of damage, especially with Coalescence. The barrage coming in from Z, so not finding as much as he would have wanted, but that's to be expected against a Diva Matrix. So he did find quite enough, but again, NoWeaver can just play this fast, and they can just play it very, very fast because they have a Doomfist that goes so well, and Vexy also in the back line, able to do so much damage, but as you see,
as we watch NoWeaver begin to push, your Prodigy is going to be the first one to go down, or Prodigy is going to get the first pick of this, excuse me, Z-Store going to be part of a group that finds where it ends up, find him. But Prodigy continues to just absolutely harass the backline. Poisoner is going to go down as well, and going to just take care of business and look to push up as the cart rolls through the row.
Yeah, NoWeaver just has the advantage on the front line. You just saw the Doomfist can go in, get all of his damage down. He's not very threatened by much of anything except for maybe the Diva or a Sigma Rock. But if you can dodge a Sigma Rock, you're basically free to do whatever you want on Doomfist. There's not much other CC available for Voltage. As Voltage still decides to keep with the Pharah. This would be your time to swap, I would think. You're not in a very good position for Pharah, it's not a very good point for Pharah, and definitely on the recontest, which isn't very good for Pharah. So, we'll see.
Widow probably not going to be able to touch it. Sorry was down immediately, as I said. Prodigy finding them Vexy going to find Vsor, and so far as not going to make it, they're going to have to try to defend with no DPS, but that's not going to work. It's point, as you saw the .01 flash as the contest comes up, and it's not going to be enough to keep them off the point. They will not be denied, and NoWeaver looking to cap this with over 4 minutes left.
It's just a very odd decision to continue on the Pharah here, especially when you're trying to recontest to a point that has a Widowmaker set up.
And Vexy absolutely set up right on cue here, so they might want to consider that barrage just isn't worth it anymore.
You basically have to think about it as he swapped off, thank you. But you have to think about it as you're playing attack. You're playing attack now. They're playing defense. So it's gonna be very like you're trying to assault this payload, but it's gonna be difficult for you, especially this Doomfist can get so much value.
Yeah, to your point, NoWeaver almost had so much of a setup. They might as well have been on defense, and so Vsor is going to still be the first one to go down as they take out Spice and a Diva Bomb. Trade off. Destruction is going to get pinned. That's going to spell disaster here as they try to maintain any sort of position on point with no shields. It's going to be very difficult. Star's going to go down as well to Prodigy as they haven't quite found the counter because Jeff isn't letting them. No McCree and no May to work with. Destruction is going to go down as well. They begin to keep pushing. Vsor going to go down again as Vexy absolutely popping off this round and will not be denied. Cart going to remain contested, but likely not for too long here. Trace has got no recall left and will dance back in the spawn, and they will roll it through with 3:41 on the clock.
It's just so unfortunate that Voltage stayed on a composition that would struggle throughout the entire map, and they stayed on it for so long. They kept the Pharah Mercy for so long, and then they swapped off the Pharah, which is what they needed to do, but they still had a Mercy. And you have a Mercy Moira, and you think, oh, that's not bad, but like, you don't have a Lucio, you don't have a defensive ult, you don't have the speed boost, you don't have any of this kind of stuff. You don't have time to build ultimates either. Like, they swap over to the Doomfist and you can get some value, but you don't have time to build ultimates on it. And your composition, you swap over the Devil's Shield as well, you don't have time to build ultimates. When NoWeaver is rolling like that, it's just going to be so hard to stop them when you have to pivot from one composition to another and just change everything. It was an incredibly difficult and daunting task to really defend that third point after having some fairly compositional mistakes on the first 2 points. So
now, do you think there's a certain level of the hero pools and hero bans for this week doing them dirty a little bit that maybe they wouldn't have stayed that on that quite as long or at all if they had some other options in the bag, or do you think that that's a matter of maybe they just overvalue the Pharah barrage?
I don't think they overvalued the Pharah barrage. I just think the hero bans, yes, you would typically run the May McCree here, and I would think, okay, so if you know exactly what the DPS should be, May McCree, you're not going to stay on the Pharah for so long. But also, it's up to you as a team to really identify that, hey, this doesn't work, or 2 isn't going to work. So we have to swap off this to something like they're playing. They're gonna mirror NoWeaver's comp, which is the Sombra Doom, which is a much stronger DPS line that I would assume you would run on King's Row.
And we see Vexy remaining on the Widow here. Vexy absolutely popping off at the end of that. We'll see if that magic continues on King's Row as they're set up on the high ground here. Star's going to have to eventually challenge that or somebody. We see the mine set up right next to her, so she's gonna know if anyone comes up. Prodigy's gonna go down there and trade Doomfists here. We're gonna see a pin from Destruction, find Savvy. He's gonna go down after the pin. Shadows 80 the Nano, so they're gonna have that in their pocket. No other ults, no ults yet for NoWeaver. That might spell disaster for them as point begins to be capped. We're gonna see a small contest, but they might need to look for a reset and have time just in time to maybe give them one last fight.
Yeah, I expect NoWeaver after losing that fight, after seeing the composition. They actually respected the Pharah from Seesaw, keeping on that Widowmaker and keep. Because Spice, you've seen love the Zarya so far, and I thought that showing D.Va initially just means that they're scared of the Pharah, or they want to respect that Pharah, which is perfectly valid. But you did see here Voltage drop, but Prodigy going in.
Are gonna find a punch early. They're gonna hit by the punch early here and take that to the chin, and so. Art's barely out of the garage, the door's barely closed, and Vexy's already pushing up here on the Reaper. We see that switch, like you mentioned, you know, early on, being very cautious and staying on D.Va Widow, now getting a little more broadly on the Zarya and the Reaper. Savvy's gonna be coming in with Shatter here. Destruction has a Shatter of their own. Sorrow's got the EMP, and they've got a grab in the bag as well here, so Voltage really has a lot of options after disposal. Maybe we see a grab here as we begin to group up through the choke.
Wait, Shadow picks Koei, which is really bad, so they won't even need to commit ultimates here. If they do commit the grab.
They commit the grab. We're going to see a Shatter come out by Savvy here. Destruction's going to find a pin on Lorenzo on the back line. They've got a significant spawn advantage here in King's Road. They're going to come all the way back from the last spawn. Vex is going to go down as well, and they're just going to be able to clean up here with a Shatter, a Nano, and an EMP in the bag.
That's actually really good for NoWeaver. They forced the beat out from Pulsar, and now they have a grab of their own. Again, you have to play into the Sombra EMP. Now it's a defensive Sombra EMP again. It's like it's now NoWeaver is basically on the attack. They have to push in to take the space back. But this EMP will probably come out. They should be looking to put this EMP out very early to not let the grab come out. Because if the grab comes out, you could see you actually losing this point.
So grab's up here, and we're gonna see who presses Q first. Sorrow's got to be looking for something here. They don't get it off in time. EMP comes out after the grab. Not gonna find any value. Never get the EMP, but they're not able to convert it into kills. Spice is gonna find the first kill on the Sorrow though. Shadow's gonna use Nano on the Zarya. Zarya's not gonna be able to do anything with it. The Vex is gonna kill it. So sort of Destruction is gonna go down as well, and they're gonna, like you said, take the offensive here, find kills, clean it up, and push them back to their own spawn.
Yeah, you could tell the call there from Voltage. They told Sorrow, hey, save your EMP for after this grab comes out, so that there's no follow-up for the grab. The actual like, I think perfect decision there to go as the Sombra is just ult before they grab, so they can't even grab. Like, if they get the Zarya, they can't grab the fight at all. And now you have full follow-up. If you're grabbed, and then you EMP, there's no follow-up for the EMP. Sure, you do not follow-up for the grab, but there's no also follow-up for the EMP. And their comp works a lot better when there's no EMP on the field than yours does.
We see IVI's grab blocked and loaded, but Zstar's gonna go down here. Comes out regardless, so no supposed to jam combo, and so barely any results. The Savvy goes down. Vex is gonna find the Reaper one and the Shadows. 3 and 4 are gonna be. It's gonna be the pick count as Destruction joins them, and that's gonna be the end of that fight very quickly.
This is turning into a worse and worse situation here for Voltage as it spirals out. Like, they start using these ultimates off the Sombra. Like, they use the EMP. The fight-winning ultimate doesn't get much. You use the grab. The fight-winning ultimate doesn't get much. They swap over to the D.Va here. It's very difficult because your front line, this front line of Spice and Savvy on that Zarya, has so much more pressure than this D.Va. And now they have a Hanzo coming out here from Sorrow instead of a Reaper as well. It's a very mixed comp. It's going to be a lot slower than the composition from NoWeaver, and we can see if Sorrow can get a pick, that's what he needs to do.
They're looking for that pick game, like you said, but Zstar's going to get picked himself, as with Pulsar. So they're looking to generate picks. No combos available here, but they're absolutely getting wiped, not able to find anything off the anti. They're going to go back into spawn with just under 2 minutes left. They're going to be playing into a Shatter and a Doomfist ult online. Destruction and Zstar are going to have their ults online as well. So though the ult economy is roughly the same, though, Sorrow's got a bit of a ways to go to get dragons and make things interesting in the alley here.
Yeah, you do have ultimates coming up here. You have the beat, you have the Nano available. Let's support ults. The Nano should be going on Destruction or Zsor potentially. Well, you can see it on D.Va, but it probably Zsor or Destruction, trying to take as much space as possible, try to get some assassinations off. but it will be difficult pushing into this shadow, and the grab is getting built up as well. Pulsar has to save his beat for this grab.
Star's gonna get picked up to start the fight. Just as Nano comes out into destruction. We've seen a lot of Nanos come on the Spice, but going the other way here on Voltage, we're gonna see it going on the run. Instead, they're gonna find 4. Destruction is gonna carry them through the fight here with the Nano. It's gonna be enough as Pulsar goes down to Prodigy. Prodigy will not be denied. Continues the onslaught, finds both supports before they go down, and that might give them an opportunity to really recontest here with some power, not having any supports on the cart.
Yeah, we can see a recontest here, especially with Spice nearing this grab, and there's no beat available for Pulsar, but actually a really well done job from Pulsar winning that fight with that beat, but we'll see if it bites him in the butt here, as now there's nothing
Star
for
is the
this
first one
fight.
to go down. Kaori finding tons of value with a DPS generator of a support again, finding 2 with a couple lessons almost on their own, finding Visor as well. Kaori really making their name here for the MVP voting and just keeping up the onslaught of crazy ability here, and it looks like they will have time for one last recontest, but with a grab in place, they might be able to keep them off point.
This is going to be really difficult. The only ult available here is bomb soon-ish, and that's not counting the fact that Spice's grab.
Are they going to be able to eat the grab here? They get on the point, they're holding DM. No, they're not able to eat it as Beat's going to come out on defense. Reaper ult is going to come up. They're going to find 3 Shatters going to come out as well. Destruction is going to fall. IBI is going to go down. Trace is going to look to stall, but it will not be enough. And this will go to NoWeaver.
Yeah. Very well played there from NoWeaver with their composition. They played to their strengths. They played to the win conditions very well. The Doomfist from Prodigy getting so much value. But again, if we're going to be talking MVPs, Kaori has been playing a very solid series, despite the fact that people consider, hey, it's Moira, like whatever. But it's like, you see the decision making from Kaori the entire series on Ana, on Moira, who whatever. Extremely solid. The co-weapons have been very good. The sleeps have been very good. The nanos have been very good. Like, Kaori's played a very solid series, but we also have to shout out Savvy, very, very good Reinhardt play. Vexy has had some very good hit scan play. Prodigy had some good play. Lorenzo had a couple very clutch beats, especially the Anubis beat. So a lot of MVP candidates for NoWeaver here. Just a very solid series played by them. Taps off to them winning this series 3-1 and advancing further into the playoffs. Voltage, they actually didn't lose that bad. They almost, like, Li Jiang was fairly close. If they had one control center, they could have taken that map. The control center was very close. Anubis, they won. They played a very good defense there. But you also saw on slipping me, Dorado. Dorado was also a very close map. The defense was quite good from Voltage, but also it just failed a little bit at the end. So by no ways is this a trouncing for Voltage. They did play a very solid game. It's just that NoWeaver Esports seemed to have a little bit of a more compositional advantage at times, and also a more fundamental understanding of the composition and playing to their strengths much better.
And so we see, again, that is a 3-1 for NoWeaver Academy over Voltage. So while Voltage heads home, NoWeaver Academy will get ready for the finals coming up in the GM division here. And so as we wait for the MVP voting to wrap up, so please do that at this time, and we will bring in the MVP for an interview if we can. And so again, a great 3-1 play. At this time, we'll plug the channel to remind you that we'll be broadcasting Overwatch action in our Revolution Esports playoffs throughout the rest of the week at 8 p.m. EDT. We will be having another broadcast here in about a half hour as well, I believe, with another match in it should be Division 1 action, but we'll be broadcasting Division 1, 2, 3, and GM, so across various skill levels in our community of over 1,000. So if you are interested in joining that, we will put that Discord link in the chat again as well, and we'll be excited to have you. It's a great community full of enthusiasts and just great Overwatch players and people, and so we encourage you to please join us. And we see our viewership probably the highest have been the last week. So again, we welcome you to this broadcast and hope you're enjoying what you're seeing here. As we continue to see we wait on the MVP voting. Lots of great plays throughout the series. I mean, we opened up with a ace from Prodigy alone, and then we saw a mix of Kaori and Prodigy, and just some great plays back and forth really take things over.
Yeah, it's a very well played series from most members of all the members of NoWeaver actually, but in particular, MVP caliber plays, I saw Kaori on Dorado, specifically the Ana, very good. But also, you see, Savvy on that Reinhardt just showed a absolute, pretty much like dominant Reinhardt play. Very clutch shadows that held on defenses. It's so. It was actually just very, like, a lot of players there. Prodigy, Doomfist play, especially a very good Doomfist player, and Vexy on the Widowmaker had some very good shots, out dueling Sora at times, even with disadvantages. So definitely a array of options available for MVP here for NoWeaver, and we will be seeing who is selected. But also on Voltage side, if we were to talk MVPs for Voltage, Zisor on that Pharah on the Genji, it has some great plays. Pulsar on the main support, and Mercy as well. Like that was what kind of kept the Pharah in the game a lot of the time. So got to give shout out to those two. But NoWeaver playing a very good game as well. Both teams playing a very good game, but NoWeaver just playing a little bit better.
Absolutely, and so we see that 3-1 victory. They're able to take the first two before Voltage fought their way out of Anubis with an excellent hold, first hold in fact, to bring it to 2-1 down in the series, and then Kings Row, NoWeaver took into their own hands, went on the offensive, really on offense and defense, kept Voltage off points in the alleyways, and were able to bring it home. So as we wait on the MVP result here, and bringing them in for an MVP interview if we can. We again remind you that if you haven't already, you can find us on Twitter at _RevolutionOW. Again, that is at _RevolutionOW, where you can find updates, upcoming events, upcoming tournaments, our upcoming streams as well in this great community. We want to give a shout out at this time too to Rins, who is on the production for this. So thank you, Rins, for the production. This is Paul on play-by-play and Worst on color commentary, and shout out to Shape, who is our production director, on helping orchestrate this circus act from all different angles. So we are absolutely thrilled with that.
Yeah,
it's fairly easy if you have two teams with such entertaining strategies.
Yeah, you did see a diversity of strategies from both of these teams, so
it seems that Carey is going to be the MVP once again.
Ooh.
Kaori apparently winning MVP once again, as
Fan
expected.
favorite.
As expected, the off support player that was fairly bloodthirsty. It was a very well played game. I mean, it was up in the air about who could win MVP, but I think Kaori just really stood heads and shoulders above everyone in that game.
Right, and I mean we start from a variety of not only just sleeps and great antes and really offensive play, but just solid defensive play, being there, never being the first one on the pick chart, and just making a difference across all of their fights. Just an absolutely great job by Kaori on the support.
I think a lot of people end up forgetting about support players and that like they don't show up in the kill feed as often, or when they do, it's like a really big thing. But also, it's like the lack of their ability, like the ability to not show up in the kill feed as the first death in a team fight is always super important as a support.
Alright, then I'll grab Kaori.
We'll be, hello Kaori.
Hello, Kaori.
Hello, it is I.
Once again, you've showed up here for MVP talks, but this time with a W, not.
This is
now.
true.
Yeah, this time is a much more happier MVP.
Oh yeah.
Advancing.
So walk us through tonight. So you hit so many sleeps early on, and then just absolutely keeping that up through the last round, especially on Moira. Were you was it just a matter of feeling it tonight, or was that just great team play all around? What are we looking at?
So my whole thing is I have this massive bag of Starburst, right? I ate all the other flavors and left the strawberry ones for game day, and I've been only eating the strawberry ones while I play.
I mean, if that's what it takes, I'm just gonna go out and I'll risk my life to get some strawberry Starburst right now.
Yeah, obviously you guys advancing further into the playoffs, taking this W. How does that feel? And what is what is it like moving forward into these playoffs?
It feels good, honestly. It's nice to see that like we're finally getting a rhythm as a team now. We finally have like a more or less set roster. And going into like later like tournament games, we feel like we're confident going into them because we know how how to play the meta right now, and more effectively like play our game,
Absolutely. Yeah. And so how do you keep that? So when you've got the finals coming up, so how do you keep that rhythm from here until then? Is that a matter of scrims? Everyone just doing their own thing? What's the mentality from here till then?
I feel like right now, scrims are an important thing, but it's like more just taking away how we were going about dealing with like Pharah poke, and we'll definitely like work on how to counter that in the future. Because we know it's been one of our weak points. However, every team that's run Pharah against us, we've ended up like barely eking out a win. But this today felt a lot better because we have a grasp now, knowing that like, oh, this meta favors us in a sense of playstyle. So yeah, it's going very well.
Yeah, I think something that's like in this meta, as you say, because it is the new bans from OWL, so it is very rapid. Just came up on Sunday, so it's like, how was it going in? Did you already have practice on this comp? Because it seemed like you had practiced this comp a lot. You practiced the Doomfist Reaper. So was it something you had practiced before, or was it something that like you instantly caught on? Was like, oh, this is what should be meta, and then just practice it.
Well, you have to get knocked down before you get back up, and that's like super cringy of me to say, but I we got steamrolled our first scrim in
Hmm.
this like hero ban set, and we finally figured out how to play it yesterday, and I think we have a very good grasp on how to go about it. So
Well, even though it was just yesterday, just in time, as they would say, taking this playoff game, but picking that up. But yeah, again, congratulations to you on
Congratulations.
your win and moving further into the playoffs here. So, and congratulations on your MVP as well. Another MVP for you on much better circumstances. So, sure everyone can be
true.
happy about that. Anyone you want to shout out? Any Twitters? Any players? Anything like that?
I'm not one to like plug my Twitter, but like it's the same as my Twitch. That's all I'm gonna say. And I also want to thank my teammates for putting in all the hard work and Coach Toad for being an absolute legend and getting us through the tough times when we don't know what the hell's going on. And also I'm gonna just say my name is said Cowrie, not Kaori.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
It is
Calories.
it is fine.
Cowrie.
Cowrie.
Fail.
Yeah.
I know someone else that spells the name the exact same way
I
but
mean,
prefers
oh,
Kaori. So
Yeah,
I
it's my middle name, so I'd prefer it to be
oh
said right.
Kaori.
Cowrie.
Sorry,
Kaori.
I'm very.
Yeah.
Oh
Uh,
no, the VOD. Oh no.
The
no, you're
most
all
valuable
right.
pronunciation, calorie. We have it for next time for sure.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
no
we'll have it for next time.
worries.
Don't worry, we'll not mess it up ever again. 100%. So
Thank you.
I'll try my best.
No worries.
And
Yeah,
thank
thank
you,
you.
Cowrie, for joining us, and good luck in your next match. It was a
Oh,
pleasure to watch you and the team tonight.
thank you. I look to hit more Forest sleeps in the next one.
Yeah.
I'm sure you will. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yep, no problem.
And so with that, we'll take this opportunity to sign off here. So for Revolution Esports, I'm Paul alongside Worst. Thank you, Rins, on the production. Thank you, Shape Door Production Director, for putting this on. We'll have more action come at you live later this evening and throughout the week. And with that, we bid you enjoy the game later and have a good night.
Good night.